All right. Hello. Hello stream. This is YE28, and today I want to work on some Emacs newbie documentation, so that on Thursday when I chat with Kalidurchik and Protesilaos, then we have things to talk about. Emacs 21 is getting ready, and I'm not so sure we can squeeze in that many more changes before then, especially since anything newbie related will probably need to touch things like the menu and the splash screen, and people have opinions about that. But we can certainly do something, even outside the Emacs interface itself, with things like the wiki or uh, trying to figure out what gaps there are in the stuff, because mm, well, if I think about it, there's like a ton of information already out there, but we just want to make it super easy for people to say, okay, this is the stuff that you can link to as part of the tutorials that you write. That way, people have a consistent starting point, and, and things like that. Do people feel confident linking to Emacs Wiki? I mean, it is a wiki, so theoretically someone could go in there and vandalize it. But I feel like it's generally it feels like a better place to put information rather than say just a blog post in my blog or whatever. It certainly feels a lot more collective, and anything that I guess is demonstrably useful. If people are finding that okay, the newbie stuff is starting to be very solid, then we can do the work maybe to get that into something hosted on the GNU.org site. Just have a page there that says, all right, here's here's your newbie information. Anyway, so I was thinking about what the user experience is like for a new user who's starting with Emacs, and what we want them to do eventually. So we want to get people more comfortable with working with Emacs Lisp, because that's how you can set keyboard shortcuts and eventually write your own custom functions and be able to use packages and configure things. Customize is useful. You can use it entirely from the menus and things like that. But as Prot said in the chat that I had with him last week about the newcomer experience, it's still limited. You want to get people into Emacs Lisp, because that's where you can get a lot more of Emacs's power. But the process for getting people into configuring Emacs Lisp is surprisingly complicated. And let me find my window here. Okay, so this is the new Emacs experience. And there is actually no easy way to get to your user init file from here. If you look under options, customize Emacs just gets you through the customization interface. So that's all the widget stuff. You can look at the customization. There's a lot of customization options here, because it's just basically everything that's got a dev custom attached to it. If you say, you do have some options here that you can change. So for example, you can say, save place and file between sessions, and save state between sessions, and you can say save options, and custom will save that to your .emacs, which is problem number one, because we don't sometimes the tutorials will tell people, use .emacs.d/init.el instead. And I personally like having mine in config Emacs init.el. But if there is a .emacs that was automatically created by Customize, that one overrides everything else. So people will be like, I'm following the tutorial, it says make this file, but even if I restart Emacs, my changes aren't loaded. And there's also no easy way to open this file, this .emacs thing. I mean, if it already exists, then you can use an open file. But in a brand new Emacs, none of this will actually. And also it doesn't. It's a dot file, so it doesn't show up. So you actually have to say show hidden files here in order to select it. which let's go tell people about that first. Okay. So in the init file here, okay. So here, Emacs will tell you the file that it is using in the, let's take a look at what the describe variable says for people. User init file, in the, its value is in the file currently being used. There. Words. How do they work? Okay. I can do this. Step one. Actually, step one is finding the chat, so I can double check that the chat. Maybe people have suggestions on how we're going to name this. Okay, we can do this. Oh, also, I should tell people what I'm working on. Let's add a link here to this init file, and this will also help me confirm eventually that this chat will show up, probably, eventually. Do I even have Social Stream Ninja working? Let's go see. One of these Emacs windows. Workflow, Social Stream Ninja. But why? Oh yeah, it does exist. Okay. Close. Let's try that again. Modify and activate. I don't know what's going on with Social Stream Ninja. It cannot find the thing. It's okay, I'll live. I will just copy this URL and add the YouTube source manually. Save. Okay. Okay, it says it's already existing. Alright. Oops. All this like social stuff to get things showing up where they should is a little complicated for me, but okay. Alright, here we go. Michael asks, what are some of the goals with this set of docs? Is it just about basic config? Okay, so my goal here is to make sure that people can, so let's say they're already in Emacs, they figured out how to start Emacs, they would like to start customizing it. And we tell people, oh yeah, Emacs is a very customizable editor. You can define your own keyboard shortcuts, you can write your own functions, you can do all sorts of things with it. But anything like reasonably interesting in Emacs, I think, tends to require that you work with Emacs Lisp. So every single tutorial or package description or whatever that needs people to fiddle with something in Emacs Lisp, has to get people over the gap, because we don't know when people get to that point, right? We might say, okay, are we dealing with someone who's kind of new to this whole thing, doesn't know what this init file is, has never written Emacs Lisp, may or may not have used the customized interface, and so how do we get them to the point where they can find their init file, put stuff in it, evaluate the code in it, and save it so that it gets loaded next time? And the way that people do this, let's go look for an org tutorial, for example. Okay, so org tutorial, we've got this is how to start org mode, all that stuff. And then it's like, okay, our first editor Emacs configuration, open your configuration file. See configuration. Let's go see what the configuration thing here says. The biggest pain when you're just beginning with Emacs is the configuration. There's not really a menu for it. You might later hear that there is, but they are lying. That menu is there. Is really there to trap innocent people. You need to edit a text file. The location of the config file and even the name is different in different OSS, and the text of it is mostly the same, and so forth. So this is the location of the config file. But in order to find this file in the first place, it's a little bit complicated for people. So let me start off by deleting my stuff here, right? And then I can start a new Emacs. This is a test Emacs using a different user, so it's pretty fresh. And if I say file, open file, there is no .emacs, and emacs.d will not have an init.el. And this is only showing this because I have this show hidden files checked in the first place. So the first thing we need to do is we need to tell people to do that. There is no way that we can type in, like if we start typing in .emacs and we remove this so that we go there, it says .emacs does not exist. What we actually have to do as a new user is to say file visit new file, which might not occur to people. Visit new file also works even if the file already exists. So we've got to do this. We've got to tell people what to do. Okay, so first we're going to say, okay, if you don't know where your init file is located, you can check this variable by using the menu item. Do we really need this step? We only need it, like anyone who's gotten this to work with config Emacs, init.el or .emacs.d/init.el is likely to already have gotten the hang of it. It would probably be simpler if we just assume that things should go in .emacs first. So user init file defaults to .emacs in a completely fresh Emacs here. And if somebody uses customize, it will automatically go into this file because that's what user init file is set to. If they're using a starter kit, their location may be different. So if you would like to confirm, okay, by default, both all, none of the above files exist. Neither it's a little complicated. Okay. This file may not exist yet because this file starts with a dot. It is a hidden file. Okay, so it's a hidden file, so we need to tell people you need to check the checkbox what is that checkbox called? Where is that? I need, oh, let's put this here and let's put that there. And let's say file, visit new file. And it says show hidden files. Alternatively, you can use like this. People might accidentally press, might type in red. Okay, so Charlie says, don't more recent Emacs and use xdg config home if the traditional historical locations don't already exist. And I can see it below now. Michael says that, yeah, the issue is when something creates something outside config/Emacs. And in fact, one of the key hiccups I think that people will run into is that Customize will create this file and then they will, you know, people will say, oh yeah, you just make a .emacs.d/init.el, as many of the blog posts and tutorials do these days. But then people are like, why isn't it loading? So let's add a troubleshooting section here in which I've started putting in like some things. Okay, so I'm saying, okay, you know, what if you get an end of file while doing parsing? This is what happens. What if I put something in my emacs.init.el but it didn't get loaded when I started Emacs? You know, this is what happens. And there's also something causes an error when I start Emacs. I don't know what's going on. Try starting with Emacs with a debug init command line argument, which means we need to tell people how to use the command line. And for many people, they might never have used the command line. And so we need a nice, gentle way to do that. And I started writing something in the starter kit thing because many of the starter kits can be tested without going into, without like committing to them by using user directory. But in order to do that, people need to use the command line. So let's just copy and paste the tutorial on how to use the command line. Oh my goodness, they have to like find Emacs in their path, and it's a bit of a mess. But we can at least start making it better. How do we tell them how to, like, does Emacs put itself in the path? We hope, probably, if they've installed Emacs the regular way, it should be in their path. So that's fine. Yeah, okay. Not all desktop environments have show hidden files. All right. Show hidden files. Okay, what happens if we don't have show hidden files checked? We could put .emacs directly in here and it will still open. So if you would like, and it may not be visible until you check or similar. This is system dependent. Even if it is not visible, you can find it by typing the file name into the, what is that thing called? File, visit new file, into the name or file name box. Charlie says, but even Physics Lab says, not all desktop environments have showed hidden files. Charlie says, but even .config has a dot prefix, so not out of the woods completely for newbies. Michael says, on Linux it should, on Mac it will depend on how they installed, and Windows, no idea. It's a start. So we can just say, alternatively, like the easier way to do this is to just use the command command metax find file. And we're assuming people have gone through the tutorial, but some people are still more comfortable using the menu rather than the metax command palette, especially since typing without if they don't have completion set up, it's a bit of a more nerve-wracking procedure, right? Anyway, it's there if they want. Relax. Should we include the red? People might accidentally type in the red. People will probably get used to pressing enter, so we won't put in the red because then people will know that they should not type it. Otherwise, people might get tempted to type it. Okay. And then some details here about what it is. Okay, running the code. Let's add a heading here. Running the code. Trying out your changes. Control HE. View. Let's add in use view echo area messages. Okay, so there's a debug file loading here. Does that go into... Oh, there is a command line switch. There is no command line page. This is what I was just starting to write. Okay. Starting the terminal. Init directory. So need debug init. Your init file. Okay, what is this thing called? This is debug file loading. Debug file, see debug file loading for tips. Okay. Add command line page. Yes. Okay, so now we have a command line page, and we can tell people, oh yeah, if you're new to command lines, you can do that. Okay, trying out your changes. If it seems like your init file is not being read, this is actually more to do with the .emacs versus .emacs d init el confusion. So this one over here, okay. See if any messages from or errors from when it loaded after starting Emacs. So this debug file loading, does this explain how to use debug init? Sort of. I feel like it's not going to be obvious to people that they can click on command line to get a tutorial, so let's tell people right away. Okay, add to the beginning of your init file. And restart Emacs. So this one says, yeah, you can add a debug on error. I think if I have that, then I can take this part out. because the debugging goes into that detail. Whether that causes the error or not. Okay, simplified. Okay. Let's say advanced. Check out Bug Hunter. That is helpful. Okay, it's dope. We can just use that. Oh, that doesn't work anymore. Does this work? None of those links work. Does this still work? The links don't work, we should just remove it. Is there a dope.el anywhere else? Nope. Okay. Add terminal tutorial. Alright, so unuse browse this. Okay. Oh. I need to fix it. Browse this. Anyway, that's debug file loading. And I have an advanced dip there, so that's fine. Okay, now this init, going back to this init file thing here. This one over here is a kind of an intermediate customization thing. Organizing your init file. When your init file gets very long, it can be hard for you to review it. One option is to view it so that organize it so that related options are near each other. Like customizations are near each other. So, is literate programming or literate configuration something that the Emacs wiki already documents? .Emacs structuring has some tips. See 4 tips. Alright, so .Emacs structuring, we're going to move that there because it's confusing some newbies who start modularizing their configuration. There was a recent Reddit thread, people asking, like, you know, is my structure here correct with my, you know, they had a directory with config stuff and they were splitting everything up by package, which is a totally legit way to do it, but it's also, it can be a bit of overkill if you're starting out and get one more thing to overwhelm people, right? So here. So we move that over there. I feel like there are a lot better examples for org.emacs. But we can leave that out of scope for now. My config is definitely not the best example for this. Oh, you know what I do have in starter kits? I do have some notes on starter kits that had nice literate configuration. Yeah, reusing the stuff that other people have put time and effort into. Okay, so we'll use that as an example instead. Literate. Okay, and then we'll take mine off because really mine will be super confusing. Oh, that's not even around anymore. This is not really so much a configuration thing as here's lots of totally awesome things you can do with org mode. I feel like it's definitely a useful resource to have. I've learned a lot from Doc Norang's orgmode.html, but I'm not entirely sure. Well, we'll leave that in because 3 is a nice number, so update the links. Okay. All right. Where was I? Organizing your init file is now a separate thing. People will worry about that after the troubleshooting. It's fine. Okay. So trying out your changes, you can use metax eval buffer. Select it with. They might not know how to use. Oh, it's actually control space, isn't it? Space, which is. Push mark? Set mark command. Can people select it? But the current selected region. Do we have something that tells people how to select regions? I know it's covered in the tutorial, but people will want to remember. Emacs wiki select region. How do regions work? Category region. Active region. There's swearing in this heading. I mean, it's all like, comic style heading. Maybe we'll link to it anyway. Yeah, okay, there's an eval region. Putting your cursor after the expression you want to evaluate, and then using run it. Okay. To start, okay, let's see what we got here. Oop, sorry. Trying out your changes. Reasonable. Add more details to troubleshooting and move structure. Let's do the end. Because people won't need to worry about their init file being too long until they have an init file that is too long. Okay. Oh yes, the odd muse thing was being very annoying because it was using the wrong. So this tells me that this needs some filling with wikis. Where's my odd muse wiki? Customize variable. This URL structure is very old. This is the new hotness. Apply and save. So now, when I browse this page, it should tell people how to do it. I feel like we've got some slight inconsistency here with bolding and the not bolding. Wait, these things are not the same? Aha. 1, 2, 3. I don't think it's entirely fair that some of them are bolded and some of them are not. People will get confused about which one is which. Triple backticks is actually not I have to get used to the syntax. Odd muse is Emacs wiki uses muse, which is not org, and therefore it is messing with my brain. Does this work? And then let's just make it consistent. It doesn't need to be all bolded. People will wonder why it's different. And version 27 is old enough that probably what's a good way to do this? I'm gonna see if everything is balanced. Query replace. Oh, regular expressions, of course. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oop. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Oh, 1. Oop. Yes. It's always amazing when it works. Slightly more consistent. No. Almost. Okay, user init file does need so we should be consistent because otherwise people will wonder what the difference is. Dot does not work for it. Okay. Let's see if that works. Actually, we don't like that one. Okay, so if I use the bracket quote, single quote thing, the quotation marks still show up. I do not want the quotation marks to show up. In which case, I do need to have this, and that needs to be balanced. Okay, fine. We can manage. Place regex I love regular expression replacements. They are amazing. You know what? I have not been using this correctly either. When I changed it to the wrong one. Fine. So I can't replace this with a regular expression because my quotations are not balanced. Yep. I don't want the backticks to show up because I don't want people to be confused and start typing backticks. So I had to use the sharp. Okay, this one I can replace regex. Yes, that looks about right. Thank you. Okay, more formatting changes. But it's the little details that matter. Okay. I think that's this code. Alright. So now I feel reasonably confident about telling people, oh yeah, init file. This is a thing that explains how to set it up, trying out your changes, organizing your init file. This doesn't have to be a link. So that's probably reasonable. Going back to challenges. In a sec, let me take this. So let me just copy my notes from, here we go. Okay, so learning how to modify Emacs with Emacs list can help people really appreciate powering, but you need Emacs list to set your own keyboard shortcuts. You can't set them through the options or the customized interface. One challenge is that it might be in several places. And then, you know, just like the whole troubleshooting things. Here are some pictures of what it looks like. Link preview? Yeah, okay, so that's a splash screen. Would be kind of interesting, I think, to have a, you know, instead of, or in addition to, you know, somewhere here, there may be, it would be nice to have a thing that says open my init file. Actually, I'm okay with this just being a menu item. It doesn't have to be on the splash screen. The splash screen is a very wanted real estate. But somewhere in the options menu, I think it would be nice to have a find, you know, like open user init file in addition to customize Emacs. Probably not in the customize Emacs screen itself, like menu itself, because it's already confusing enough that customize means the menu interface, but doesn't actually talk about what real people use for customizing Emacs. I mean, what most people use. And I feel like it maybe it can go under, like below manage image, like below all of this. It could just be a find. Actually, find is a little bit weird. Maybe visit, open user init file. Maybe that could be nice. Which menubar.el. Ooh, my highlight What's going on with my highlight regex here? Highlight sex mode. Okay, turn that off. Okay, and I started tinkering with this here. Let's go see if we can make this happen. All right, so options. How do we make it show up? I actually don't really know how to do this very well. Options. Oh, okay. Step one is we need to have, so there's no open init file. There's no find user init file function yet. This does not exist. It should exist, but it doesn't. And I don't really know yet where it makes sense to add, because I don't have a good sense of how Emacs Lisp source code is organized. But maybe in files.el, and then maybe people can tell us where to properly put it next time. Oh. Alright, what's going on with this, like, highlight? Okay. Theoretically, these things should have been changed. Okay, so when I toggle this, it's supposed to update all the overlays and fix the colors, but I don't know. I think it's just confused. Sasha, you shall also update all overlays. It really should have done the updatey things. Okay. It's not updating the overlays. Let's just turn it off. And let's close it and kill it from space. Okay. So, presumably after locate user Emacs file, there should be like a define of find user init file, and all it does is open user init file. Maybe that. And let me, like, how do I force it to show up in my existing menu? Is that a thing I can do? Is that even in here yet? No. Okay, step one. Oh, you know what? Is this one of those things where I have to, like, I could just recompile everything and then install it and then see if it shows up. Okay, think. So I would love to be able to tell people, instead of this like, oh yeah, use find file, but you might have to show hidden files, but actually you can't use file open file, you have to use file visit new file. I would love to be able to just say, yeah, you just go options, open init file. That would be nice, I think. Or failing that, even a meta-x, right? A meta-x find init file. Oh, I need to evaluate it, maybe? Find user init file. Find user init file. Yep, find user init file. Reasonable, right? There is, and I think I might have mentioned this previously on the channel. There is like one thread, user init. Haha, I did mention it before. And then nothing happened. This is 2020. It's because everyone like I made a mistake of saying, hey, maybe we should add Melpa to like the package checklist. Of course, that's like a no-go from the new Emacs point of view. But is there a thread? Like, did anyone else pick up on this? Find user init file. It's a very package discovery. Good heavens. And then there's this stuff from 2007, right? Which says Emacs has this. There is now there is a locate user init file, but there's no like find. Just open the file. Anyway, I will check with Philip on Thursday to see whether this is something that has been already extensively discussed and said no to, or if someone thinks it might be a good idea to just add so that we can include it. What else do I want to prepare for the conversation on Thursday? In beginner tutorials. Okay, this is some screenshots of a fresh Emacs. Let's put the screenshots at the end. Oh yeah, I also mentioned, I was also thinking, it would be nice to have a MetaX restart Emacs debug in it, because then we don't have to tell people this is how to do the terminal thing. However, restart Emacs calls save buffers kill Emacs. Save buffers kill Emacs calls kill Emacs. Let's go see where that is. With a restart, it would be nice to be able to say, restart past the debug, restart debug instead of T. Kill Emacs is C, which is a little scary. It says, if arg is a string, stuff it and a new line as keyboard input. What? What? What does that mean? I'm a little confused. And slightly terrified of restarting this one. Like, how do I? If arg is an integer, what? Okay. That is separate from this. I see. Actually, I don't see very well, but the restart is the thing that we were caring about. We can't override the arguments for this, can we? I would love to be able to override the arguments for this, because it would be great to be able to say, yeah, restart Emacs, but do this. Alternatively, it would be nice to be able to say, yeah, start Emacs, but try it with a debug in it. Can I tell people, for example, okay, can I tell people, do an async shell command of Emacs debug init? That might be a thing, instead of having to tell them how to use a terminal. Larry Green says, not some silly cut terminology. I'm slightly confused because I've forgotten the context for it, but I'm sure it will be obvious in time. Okay, so debugging. We can tell people, instead of telling people, okay, yeah, start with the dash debug init. we can tell people, okay, try using async shell command. I didn't know, is that even scarier than the thing? Okay, but init file. Init file, we have a thing that says debug file loading. All right, debug file loading. Okay. Just use metax in Emacs. So we're telling people to use async shell command. Okay, we're gonna try this. Async shell command. And specify Emacs debug init. But if we do this and then we close the initial Emacs, does the second Emacs go away? Let's try it. Async shell command Emacs debug init. So here we are. This is the second one. This is the second one. And then we're like, okay, everything is fine. Can I close this? It's a tab. Like, they will both go away. So, how do we tell it? Can we tell it not to do that? So we can't. I don't think this is a viable approach then. Because people will be like, I have so many Emacs cluttering up my thing. I mean, if they're just testing it, alternatively, okay. To start a new Emacs. Mention async shell command. I don't know. I feel kind of weird about it because it sounds extra scary for people, and it's not really something they can do from the menu, can they? Tool shell commands. Oh no, there's a tool shell commands, async shell command. Okay. If it's in the menu, I can tell people to do it, right? Tell tools shell commands. Cedric says, is there an argument to dump the debug init output to a log file? I don't know. Okay, let me write down this thing that I'm thinking about first. Async shell command. it's like, can I do this? Is this how we nest lists? I feel like there's like this. I don't know how nesting works here. Okay, let's try this formatting. Menu. Probably preview would be nice. Oh, that is totally not how we do it. Okay, let's go see how it's properly done. Text formatting rules. Lists. Sublists. Okay, just don't, I don't need to mix it. Can I do that? Okay. Reasonable. It's fine. Formatting. Alright, and then we circle back to Cedric's question. Is there an argument to dump the debug input to a log file? I don't know. Man Emacs. Oops. Man Emacs. It does not. Why doesn't it become the focus buffer? Probably because you can just scroll up the window. Sure, but still. Okay. Debug init. Not really. Doesn't seem like it. Like if you debug init, it will stop. I think if there's an error. Let's go actually try this. Uh-oh. So message. Oh, actually we need to find something that produces more of an error. Well, let's try restarting. Okay. An error, blah. And then we say, okay, start with the debug init. So let's try it. Async shell command, Emacs, debug init. Okay. And then it says, yeah, alright. But it doesn't actually give you that much more information. It opens a backtrace. Theoretically, someone could paste this backtrace into a help new Emacs post or a Reddit thread, and people have done that, but they're hard to read for people. And feel kind of iffy about it, but nonetheless, this is progress. So now we have an init file page on Emacs Wiki that also tells people how to actually edit the init file and what to do if things go wrong. And I would say actually that the setkit debug on error T, do you think that might be a little bit easier for people than using debug init? Yeah, but it's one of those things. Okay, I think adding that might be a little easier than debug init for people. with a caveat that it will then kick them into a very scary debugging screen if an error happens elsewhere during Emacs. You can remove it once you are, or comment it out. Comment it out by adding start of the line when you are done debugging. Probably that's fine. Or turn off debugging. Interactively turn off debugging by using, I don't know, my toggle debug on error. Turn debugging on and off. And then we have to tell people what to do with this debugger. Will do. They might not know how to select. Remember, they've just finished the tutorial. It might have stuck in their brain yet. So at least we can link region, and maybe they have a chance to remember how to select the region. Keyboard macro. It's fine. Okay. Moves debug on error earlier because that's easier. That might be easier. Okay. Possibly. Maybe. So if we have that, then it might not be necessary to have a restart Emacs debug in it. Okay, so we can take this away. So I've changed the Emacs wiki example to refer to .emacs, even though .emacs.d/init.dl or config emacs init.dl would be nicer, because if people use customized, then they'll have the .emacs, and then things will get confused. So that deals with that question. Okay, I guess that's reasonable. Then we need to tell people what their next step is. And their next step, you know, we want to give people a guide to their next thing. common configuration. So things you might want to related resources. So for example, we want to tell people, all right, here are some things you might want to set in your config. So something about key bindings. Does Unmuse have a way to link? Why doesn't Unmuse have a way to link? Okay. Emacs wiki key binding. Okay. Does Oddmuse give me a list? I'm feeling like we gotta have a completion interface here. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at how Oddmuse edit works. Oddmuse edit says, yeah, open this thing. Oddmuse page name. How do I? What's my completion? Is there like a complete? Read wiki and page name. Read wiki and page name. Ooh. Read page name. Okay. Make completion table of the wiki. Step 1. Sort of. Okay. Alright, okay, so there's a completion table thing. Do I have like the current wiki? Yeah, I do. So I could say Oddmuse wiki, maybe? Alright, okay. And then I need to be able to say, I want to link to a wiki page. Huh. Let me think. Do I actually already have an Emacs wiki link? Because that is generally useful. No, I do not. Okay, so what I want to do here then is I want an org mode link type. Do I have a snippet for this already? No, I do not. I want an org mode link type. Let's change my snippet for that. Dash. Because I'm going to refer to the Emacs wiki a lot. So let's call it an Emacs wiki. And we say it's got an EW link and I need completion. When I want completion, I want to read it from Oddmuse complete page name table, and I want to give it the Emacs wiki thing. Yeah, okay. And this is completing read page. Let's see what happens. And ideally, it would be cached, so it would be fast. Does it get cached somewhere? Completion table. Well, maybe it doesn't. It's fine. Okay, we'll just go with the simple thing first. No description. Browse URL. Browse URL needs to open Oh, I actually want to, what's it called? Maybe Odd News edit it? Okay, so that gives me a link, but when I insert it, I want to be able to insert it into Odd News using org link do what I mean, and I want it to do the right thing. So I will need to also modify my org link do what I mean. Insert. What's it called? Org link do what I mean. Here we are. So I'm saying in odd news mode, right? In odd news mode, I don't necessarily want, here we are. If the URL matches a page, let's just hard code it for now, because the kid is going to come out for lunchtime soon. Okay. If it matches that, then I don't necessarily want to like if there's a title, how do I want? When I press Control C Control L, I want to say link to a page in the Emacs wiki, and then I want to say select the thing with a completion, and then I want to insert it. Let's just match string, and then we can fiddle with the special cases later. Okay, let's go see. Where was I? I need to evaluate my thing. Okay, so now it's asking me all the things. Key binding guide. Key binding guide seems like it's useful, right? Oh, look at that! It inserted it. It did the right thing. Look at that. Here we go. Alright. Set your own keyboard shortcuts. Oh, just then there's something. Haha, learn Emacs Lisp. Yeah, we need to have that. What else do people want to do? There's like, is there something on like common? You can also, yes, you can also look at starter kits for ideas. Okay, so this, now they've figured out, we'll put that above the troubleshooting. We'll assume they've got a happy path. So this is like, okay, here's the resources. Okay, reorganize resources. Okay, so I'm reasonably happy with how things are going here. Quick recap, we've been modifying this init file page so that it talks about how to open the file, which includes a very important tip: use file visit new file, not file open file. Which will, anyway, it explains the hidden file thing. It explains how to try out your changes, how to find more resources, how to debug things if you have an issue, and how to organize things. Okay, pretty happy with that. And so now I can just link to this page all over the place whenever I write a post. Let's see if my new link works. Init file. Boop. Look at that. It does the thing. Now I have a custom org link type EW that shows me pages in the Emacs wiki with completion and links to the right thing in both odd news mode as well as markdown in other places. It'll be great. Yeah. So if I say Mastodon toot, worked on some improvements to init file close, it should have, I should probably have the description. I like filled in some information gaps for and what else did we touch today? Debug init. Oh, you know what we can do? We can look at the history, recent changes. The Emacs configuration generator. Oh, it was totally removed. I feel like it's fine. I feel like the source code for the generator might be interesting to look at, but that's definitely more of an advanced topic, and we don't have to worry about that yet. Okay. Ooh, does this mean somebody else is volunteering for next month? No, it doesn't. No. Going to be hosts. Okay. All right. And somebody has more posts. Okay. All right. It's good. Okay. What else did we do here? Oh, debug file loading. So clearly what I need to do here is I need to tell it to insert the description of the link. Use the link as the description. At the very least, right? Okay. Debug file loading and .emacs structuring. Let's see if I can get it using this. There you go. All right. This also means, I think, if I go to here and I say, yeah, paste in that link. Yeah, it's going to do the thing. All right. This is good. But I only wanted to insert that if the title is the same. String 1 URL title or null title. Okay. Otherwise, for now, let's just insert the thing. There's another. Actually, let's go look at the text. Oh, it's already lunchtime. Okay, bye, folks. I will see you around next time. Thank you for hanging out with me. Goodbye.